When you look at your metrics, what are your eyes drawn to? Maybe your acceptance rate, your customer rating, or how often you're on time. That's all fine and well, but it's what's not shown on that screen that really matters.
Are you a rideshare driver who needs extra cash? Meet Wallet. We're a cash advance company trusted by over 90,000 drivers. We help drivers who need cash advances for paying insurance, vehicle maintenance repairs, gas money, and any of your business-related endeavors. We have an extremely fast application process, allowing you to have your money in 24 hours. It's fast, no impact on your credit score, and no credit checks. We approve your application based on cash flow from your rideshare business. Join Wallet today and never worry about being strapped for cash again.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy, and in this video, we're going to talk about the metrics that actually matter, the ones the gig apps won't show you, the ones that actually affect our bottom line. Alright, before we get started, let me get ahead of the comments. Yes, some of the apps do show us metrics that actually matter. For example, your on-time deliveries, your customer rating, and your completion rate. These matter because you could get deactivated if they fall below a certain point. These, along with the rest of the stats that you're shown, are simply an indicator of how well you act as a driver compared to what they're looking for. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't try to provide a solid customer experience and be punctual, because you should. But the bottom line is, most of the stats that they display are how often you say yes. Do you want to accept this order? Yes or no? Hey, it's taking longer for the restaurant to complete it than we thought. Do you want to keep the order? Yes or no? I think you get my point. It's the metrics they don't show you that affect your profitability and efficiency as a driver. Let's get into the first one. How long are you waiting around in between orders? Last summer, I did a goofy challenge for myself where I saw if I could go less than 5 minutes in between accepting orders. The purpose for me doing this was to quickly determine if the offer in front of me was reasonable for the time of day and day of the week. I gave myself a couple of outs. For example, if the order was less than $1 a mile, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And if the customer didn't tip, it was an automatic decline regardless of the distance. When I made myself aware of just how long I was waiting in between offers I accepted, I was shocked at just how critical I was being with the offers I was presented. I used a word a moment ago that is very relevant here. Reasonable. Now, of course, if it's 5 p.m. on a Saturday, don't go accepting an order that you would accept at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. But if it is 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, don't sit around waiting for an order that you would see at 5 p.m. on a Saturday. Most apps will not show you any kind of a metric on how long you spend waiting between orders. Now, hopefully I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but I challenge you to run at least 5 apps every time you drive. Why not give yourself as many opportunities to succeed as possible? Furthermore, I challenge you to try waiting less than 5 minutes between offers you accept. Keep in mind, my acceptance rate is very low on just about every app I drive for, but when I'm being mindful of my wait times, I can typically pull this off. Now, I want to pause here for a moment. Everything we're going to talk about on this list should fluctuate with the time of day of the week, gas prices, and current market conditions. My minimum is $6 per order. Anything less, and I try to avoid starting the car. If I do accept an order for $6, it better only be going a couple of miles or less. That's not to say if I get a $5 order and it's dead, then I'm not going to take it. Remember, reasonable. As delivery drivers, we can potentially make hundreds of decisions every day. Some we're not even aware of. Say it's rush hour, and you know that Route A is going to take you through a busy area, but Route B won't. Well, it may be a no-brainer, but you made a decision, even if it's subconscious. However, one decision that you need to be hyper aware of is your dollar per mile ratio. In case you're a brand new driver or somebody who's recently started taking the time to educate themselves on best practices, let me give you a couple of examples. If you get an order going 5 miles, paying $5, the ratio is $1 a mile. If you get an order going 20 miles, paying $10, that's a ratio of decline it immediately. Kidding, 50 cents a mile. But seriously, probably still decline that order. The magic number I look for is $2 a mile. So, if I get an order paying $8, I need to see it going 4 miles or less. Like with anything on this list, that's subject to change. Remember, time of day of the week, and current gas prices. If it's slow and gas is cheap at the time, consider decreasing your dollar per mile ratio. If gas is outrageous and or it's busy, increase your ratio. Now, let's talk about a couple of exceptions to this. Say you just started driving for the day and you get an order taking you into the area you want to be in. At that point, the dollar per mile ratio isn't so important anymore. You're going there anyway, so you may as well be paid for those miles. Another example. If you're multi-apping and you get a second order going in the same direction as the first, the dollar per mile ratio shouldn't matter much at all. When I'm doing food delivery, I tend to wait in the same spot and deliver within a 3-mile radius. Given how many apps I run, I frequently achieve $3, $4, or even $5 per mile. Alright, the next metric that the apps won't show you is how long you spend waiting at a restaurant after accepting an order. Admittedly, this one may seem a little strange, but hear me out. With the exception of our car, market knowledge is the single most important thing that we can possess as gig workers. Unless you're doing earn by time, which in my opinion you shouldn't be, you're not getting paid to wait up at your pickup locations. This metric is important because if you're not choosing your orders wisely, you'll end up waiting around for orders when your time could have been diverted into something else that was already ready, and you could keep making money. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you to unassign any order with a wait. Don't do that. But what I am saying is have a formula for how long you're willing to wait. Here's a tip. If you walk in to pick up your order and it's not ready yet, ask the staff, realistically, how long is it going to be? Adding the word realistically tends to get you a far more honest response. If you're going to spend 20 minutes waiting on an order that's paying $10, is it worth the wait? Maybe, depending on the time of day and day of the week. If the wait is only 5 or 10 minutes, I'd argue it probably is worth waiting for. What you have to ask yourself is, are you going to spend more time waiting on that order or unassigning it, accepting another order, driving to a new restaurant, and potentially repeating the process? Alright, the final metric I want to address is how often you unassign an order in favor of a better one. Now, some of you are dead set against this, and that's okay, but I want to remind you, we're in this to make the most amount of money possible in the shortest period of time. If you're doing this type of work right, you're running as many apps as you can every time you drive. So, when you accept an order, leave the other apps running. Proximity matters with these apps, and you'd be surprised just how often that you'll get an order from the same restaurant on a different app when you're already there to pick up. If you know your market really well and they're going in the same direction, you could make more money. Just do your own research and understand the risks of multi-apping before making that decision. If the orders aren't going in the same direction, I don't see any harm in kicking the first one in favor of the second one, assuming that you're also not going to be waiting around on the second one. Every order that we accept or decline is a financial decision, and in my opinion, there is no harm in accepting an order and then making a smarter financial decision and unassigning the first one. Just make sure to keep an eye on your completion rate. Alright guys, here is the God's honest truth. Nobody on YouTube can teach you your market. It takes time and trial and error. My goal with my videos is to teach you a way of thinking and the right questions to ask yourself when you're out driving. The metrics that we just discussed will help you make smarter choices as a driver. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to the RideShare Guy. You can catch my videos here every Tuesday. If you enjoyed this video, check out that video where I teach you about multi-apping the right way. I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy. Take care.